Welcome everyone to the experience of Tan&Dan's Chill Cast.
But I'll tell you, man, human curiosity. I mean, people will actually poke a bear just to know what it's like to poke a bear.
They probably have this so often. They're probably just like, Jimmy, fucking put your balls back in your pants. Give him another set of fries, please. Just keep going.
Well, you know what? It's not even me. It's not even me. You know what? He doesn't even care. I mean, he pranks everybody. So, for this episode, Gamers episode, everybody else is going to be like, why the fuck do they talk about games? Because we're a gaming channel, guys! And we had to do it at least once. All of my personal opinions about these games are 100% accurate and reflect 100% accuracy in these games, and you should only listen to my opinions that I have about these games. Don't even form your own opinion. It's not worth it. Go with mine.
Yeah, just whatever game he says is trash, just throw it in the... Don't even buy it. Just look at the guy and say, that game's trash. I heard it from Tan.
Yeah,
it's garbage.
Take it 100% seriously. Just go with whatever I say. King Tan. That's all I got to say.
Let's see here.
So games. We're actually, for once, talking about games.
And here's the thing, though. When you're talking about games, it's so biased. Like, my opinion on how I feel about something is not going to resemble probably half the population out there. Because it just comes down to the things you like and things you don't like. And when it comes to games, that varies drastically.
Everyone's going to be like, man, there ain't no problem with that. You just suck.
Yeah, I could be like, hey, I really hate this game because of this process, or Apex grenades suck, and somebody's gonna be like, bro, I get many kills, so many kills with the grenades. I don't know how you don't know how to use them or something, you know.
So if we're talking about Apex Legends and we're mentioning grenades right here, right now, all those grenades do suck. The only grenades, well, first of all, can you cook those grenades? Because I haven't seen a way to cook them.
I have not looked into it. Maybe we should have done that. I have not looked into it, but I had one occasion where I threw a grenade into a building. We had a pretty good round. I threw a grenade into a building. We knew the people were there. Most of the time, you chuck a grenade, it takes a few seconds before it goes off. If someone throws a grenade at you, I've seen, like, you see the little icon pop up, grenade close to you. You have, like, that couple of seconds to kind of run away from it, and typically you can get away. But there was one time where we were up high, we saw them in the building, we chucked a grenade, and it went off almost instantly. Now, it may or may not have been my grenade, because we were both chucking things down there. Maybe you threw one a little bit sooner, and that just happened to be the one that went off when I threw mine down there. I don't really know, but that felt like it made contact, and I was curious, maybe the contact actually, like, makes it go off instantly.
Maybe they shot it in midair and it just exploded in their face.
It was just like super insane awesomeness.
No, but
that grenade hit him hard though. We saw damage for that.
No, but I feel like that's happened to me many times where I just get blown up on. Like, there are plenty of times where I see the grenade symbol and I run away. And other times,
just get away.
It blows up on my face and I'm like, I didn't even see the grenade symbol. WT to the F.
And then it feels like occasionally you'll get like a grenade that's like right on you, but the damage done just doesn't seem like it did that much. Or maybe you threw a grenade and it's like, man, that grenade was like in the same tiny ass little shack and it didn't take him down. Like, what the hell's with that? And then other times you just take like 3 kills with a grenade. You're like, whoa, damn, must have been really hurt or something.
All I know is I usually grab as many grenades as I can, because that's how many it takes to actually do something to somebody.
Well, I feel like it's like a bait and switch kind of scenario. Like, you almost just can't throw one. The chance of hitting somebody with one just seems pretty low. It's when you get a couple going, you know, you chuck a couple out there and maybe they didn't see the second one or they didn't see the third one, and so like the one goes off, they feel safe, start moving back out, and then the second or third one hits.
Well, that Ninja Star one, oh, it sticks to people, it sticks to things. I have never stuck somebody with that Ninja Star. Ever. Not one time.
I find I panic in those moments, which is why I can't get things to stick. Look, if you're a serious first-person shooter, this is like what I've tried to focus myself more on, is to just stay as calm as possible. Because when you start freaking out, my freaking pattern just goes everywhere, man. And then you just don't hit anything, and then you die. But the more I've found, the more I can stay. That's just like breathe. You know, even if you're like one-on-one, you're the last one left, and this is it. You just almost have to just be like you got your whole team behind you still. Because if I don't, and I start freaking out and jumping around and trying to hit them, it just gets ridiculous. Now it's pretty funny when they're doing the same thing. You get like two crappy people, the last ones alive, fighting each other.
Two crappy people.
We've had that happen a couple times where just me and another guy, just like probably the worst guys on the team, just jumping around like rabbits, just like
hoping for something to connect.
Just like somebody's gonna die. It's like the battle of the losers. Like
you run out of ammo, then you just start flailing, slapping each other.
Yeah, but then like you'll see, I don't know. There's certain things that impress me, and I don't know. There's been a couple times where like you're fighting somebody, and it's one-on-one situation. You feel like you got the upper hand, and just however they played the scenario just worked out to their advantage over yours. And I don't know if that's a you suck kind of thing, or just that they read the situation of what you were gonna do next, like coming around a corner or something like that. Like I had a person run out of ammo on me, and hit like I was lit. I don't know how lit she was. I can't remember the situation, but she came sliding up around the corner and jumped up and like uppercut me and knocked me down. She had no ammo left. I was like, oh my gosh, like. She could have just ran away, and I probably would have got her because she was running away. You just got to get around the next corner and get a couple more shots in. But instead, she just like fought it to the death and actually won.
What happens for me is I'll always be on a one-on-one fight, and what typically happens if I don't get them, I almost get them. Like there'll be like 10 life or something like that, and I go down, and I'm like, son of a bitch! Like I'll just be down, and then they kill me. Then my death cam goes to them, and I'm just like shaking my fist at my monitor, just furious. And I'm like, that didn't happen. It's the game's fault.
Yeah. Like I would need a new mouse or new keyboard. It lagged out a little bit. Yeah,
exactly. There's clearly lag. Clearly, I had a beer. Clearly, it wasn't my fault.
No, I feel like in any game though, when a new game drops, same thing happened in PUBG, PlayerUnknown's. It just seems like you get that initial rush of people that makes every round almost easier. You know what I mean? Like when PUBG first came out, we were winning a bunch of matches. We were getting some chicken dinners, you know what I mean? And then like after a few months went by, I feel like all the people that aren't really big first-person shooters, or maybe they just drop off the wagon or whatever else, you start the pool of quality starts basically growing because the pool of crap is thinning out because they don't play it anymore. And then also every round just seemed like it was getting harder. Not to mention like the people that stick around with it are learning the game more, you know.
We were running into a lot of hackers on PUBG though.
Well, that's true. They're like that truck. That time we had that truck like third floor, like floating through the walls, trying to run you over for like 5 minutes.
We were in a building on the third floor, and I was telling Dan, I'm like, dude, I think someone's hacking. Like, look at all these, look at all these kills. And he's like, oh yeah, you do. And like right as he says this, a fucking truck comes through the wall and smashes me. We're on the third floor in a fucking building, and a truck comes through the wall, not through a window, through the wall.
Yep. You'd hear him like honk before he's coming. You knew he was coming. You're just like, oh, he can't see you though. That was the one thing. I don't think he could see us because he kept missing a bunch of times. He just knows you're in there, and he's just driving through the walls.
He just knows you're in there somewhere.
He knows you're in there somewhere, so he's just like driving through the walls, up and down and around, like just trying to hit you with the vehicle. So I spent like the next like 5 minutes trying to get you up. I can't remember if I got you up, and then we both died or what happened, but yeah, the occasions like that was pretty fun.
And his car
it was pretty funny.
His car was invulnerable. He's like smashing into us, smashing into the walls, going through the walls. Like, didn't matter though. Did nothing to that car. And he's just like beep beep beep.
Yep,
beep,
just keeps honking.
just smashing people. I'm like, oh my goodness, why is this allowed?
Though, well, at what point though does that get? I mean, you paid for this game. It was like a $60 game.
It is
originally.
a $60 game. It is.
Is it still? Is it still? I don't know if it's still. If it's still, that's even crazier. I feel like it might have dropped to like 30 something. But regardless, this was a $60 game, and you had all these people blatantly hacking, towards like there's no way you're not like it's so obvious.
It was pretty. It was pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
I just don't know if the company, like the company says they ban those people, but I don't know, man. Like I just can't imagine just being like, oh, just who cares about that $60? I'm just gonna cheat until I get thrown out. You know what I mean?
Did I tell you what happened to me yesterday?
What? No, I don't think so.
Maybe it was the day before yesterday. So this off topic from games, but it has to be said. Fucking Big J.
Oh no.
Fucking Big J had to roll up on me on a location. Oh, how you doing, Tan? What's going on? Oh yeah, listen to your shitty podcast. Oh yeah, da 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 da. And then on his way back to his truck, like, I'll see you later. I got shit to do. I'm like, I'm gonna watch this motherfucker because I feel like revenge is in order in his mind, right? Well, I'm watching him. He disappears around the corner. And then I see him stop. And you know how I see him stop? I see his shadow. His shadow just stops. And it just kind of stands there. And I'm like, this motherfucker, what's going on here? Like, he isn't. And his shadow kind of like tilts a little bit towards my truck. And I'm like, he's doing some shit. and then he looks around. I see him peer around the corner. I'm looking straight at him. And I'm like, don't you F. And then he goes, man. He like freaking like closes the distance of 6 feet and just throws the stink bomb right through my fucking window of my truck.
No hiding it either, huh? He's just like, not getting you. I don't even care if you see it.
My truck smelled like ass for 2 days.
Well, that was a good one.
And he's like, oh, it would have been so much better if you hadn't seen me. I'm like, no, it would not have been better if I had not seen you, son of a bitch.
Oh, man. He got you.
So F you, Jared. I mean, Big J. Steve will edit that. Steve! Edit that out, Steve. F you, Big J. You're dead to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to get him back. You know, this is the thing. Again, guys, I don't like pranks. But I handle them well.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm at my freaking limit with this guy, Ming. At my limit. Let's talk about some fucking games.
All right, so Apex Legends, we've jumped into that. We haven't got a lot of time. We've been pretty busy. There's been a lot of shit going on. I got shit going on in my family life. You got stuff going on with work and other kind of things, and so we haven't had a whole lot of time to play. But the time we have had, we have both enjoyed Apex. It's been fun.
I'll tell you something about Apex. Caustic, his gas tank things suck ass.
Well, it feels like I don't know, man. Like, see, that's one of those things. I haven't played him, but I've seen people play him, and I've ran into situations that other people set up where if however it's laid out, I'm not sure if they needed to tweak some stuff, because I have definitely seen you lay down them freaking gas bombs and they just don't go off.
And they don't go off.
What the hell,
they don't go off. And it's like one of the most infuriating experiences because his ultimate is great. Like, you throw that, it's a huge cloud, it's great. But his fucking cylinders, man.
I don't know, man. See, like, I've ran into those where they had laid them down and it just wrecked me. Just slows it down, can't get out. Oh, wrecks. But if they don't work, then it's...
I mean, I've had plenty of times where I got screwed because I ran into a building that just happened to be like freaking toxic bomb death trap of hell. You know, but that doesn't work for me, apparently. I don't know what it is. So infuriating.
When you get poisoned, is that beacon you, basically? I can't remember.
I think it beacons you for him. He can
Okay, not for
he can
everybody
see
else.
you through the poison. Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, yeah, because if you hit those, if you get, someone's chasing you or a team's coming after you and you get into one of them hallways and you lay a couple of those down around a corner to where they run into that and then just get slowed, getting poisoned, like that's a pretty OP situation if you plan it right. And what it comes down to is like every single one of these players, you kind of need to know, what they do best and then how to play those with your team. But
Or
But
they
yeah,
need to
it's,
activate when they should activate. I mean, that's
that
just,
too. They need to do what they're supposed to do. Yeah, I agree.
But no, really, like let's get into this a little bit. Why is Apex so popular?
See, I feel like we've talked about this before. I think we've said it on the podcast before. I feel like Apex took a lot of the things that were most liked out of the other battle royale games. And the two main ones that come to mind would be Overwatch and PUBG. It has the same kind of cartoonish style that Overwatch has. It's got the same kind of like character setup where each character does something different that Overwatch has.
Yeah,
But it has the
ultimates. It has
battle-
ultimates.
Yeah, I guess it has the battle royale mode and pickup and all that kind of stuff of PUBG. So I mean, they took the two very popular games right now and made a free-to-play battle royale mode that basically kicks ass. I mean, it really does. It's a great game. They came out, launched it. It played relatively smoothly. You've had several issues with it, off and on.
More than a few.
I actually have had none. I don't know if that's just luck of the draw or how that works out, but I have had no crashes. Well, take it back. I may have had one crash in the very first week, but other than that, nothing.
Dragon has some kind of memory leak error that hits him like randomly, and then he just crashes out and just leaves us alone to get wrecked.
Yeah. Well, that does suck. We've had a couple of times where we probably could have won, dash maybe should have won, and then something happens, and then we're just the two of us instead.
Dragon has disconnected. What?
Yeah. There's that one time he was like in mid jump and disconnected. He was just like floating in the air, just like.
Yeah, it's like there are two teams
Sitting
remaining. Dragon has disconnected. What?
Yeah. But no, I feel like the company did really well with the creation of the game. They did a pretty damn good job at launch to not have bugs. I know you say that as it's a non-expected thing, which it should be expected if you launch the game. But let's be honest though. We're in a generation of games that launch early. They do these pre-launch things, early access kind of stuff to just get their game out there and start selling it, and then they patch it over time. It's getting old, man.
Yeah,
You know what I
I
mean?
mean it's never a completed game.
It just seems like
Ever.
that's been the style though lately. Is everybody wants to play the game. Companies are like, hey, let's release it as a an early access kind of style, and start selling copies just right off the bat. And I feel like it's backfired on a couple games.
However, this
and-
one wasn't. You didn't pay for this one.
No, you're right. But the consensus was they did a good job. There really wasn't that much issues. You know what I mean? I don't remember off the top of my head anywhere that it had been like, oh, that's just POS. You know what I mean? Like I heard some glitching of like a reload glitch. You just never had to reload. There's been other kind of things like that. I never experienced any of those, but there has been documentation of those that happened. Other than that, I mean, it was a pretty right out the door, clean, fun game to play. No issues whatsoever, in my mind. So you take that along with free to download, quality gameplay. I mean, what else do you like about it?
The biggest
The
thing
freaking-
that I like is that you can respawn. I mean, once you're dead,
Yeah.
you're not dead.
Yeah, I mean, you just compare that to like say PUBG. It takes the seriousness to a new level. Like if you're in PUBG right now, you and me are together playing duos, and we get into a battle, and then another team comes up behind you and drops you, you or me, one of us. All of a sudden, you can't really say, okay, I'm just gonna continue to fight, you almost have to go completely defensive just to get your teammate back up, because if you don't, chances are you're done. And then if he dies, bleeds out, which happens in, was it like 30 seconds or 10 seconds, 15 seconds, whatever it was. It's been a while.
Well, they give you a long time in Apex. They give you like 90 seconds.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's such a different. They took the qualityness of other games and tweaked things here and there to make it what it is. So yeah, the resin thing is huge because it does kind of allow you to play slightly more free. And let's say you're in a group, and I guess I shouldn't say that. You're always in a group with Apex.
Kind of. I mean, like when someone goes down, they just auto leave. Yeah,
but let's say you're with your buddies though, and you do go down. All the other games, well, most of them, the Battle Royale style, if you go down, you're just stuck. You're done.
You did.
You're out. And you just get to watch. And I just feel like with guys that say maybe aren't so good, like me when I was starting out, and I'm not going to say I'm great now, but just I was way worse starting out, it just got boring just to sit there and watch another 10, 15 minutes of gameplay with my team, whether they're scavenging for parts until they finally, run into somebody.
Yeah,
that so you could go several minutes, just doing nothing. Basically, when you went down, you almost got to a point where it's like, all right, beer break, or I'm gonna grab some food. You just kind of left your computer. There's not really a whole lot to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But now with Apex, giving that kind of like almost a little bit of hope that you could be picked up, it just makes you like it gives you that intrigue to sit there and actually watch your team progress, because every battle they run into, every time they win, gives you that chance to come back still. And then same time when you come back, you get res and you're like dropping and you see teams just like flocking towards you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you're like me and super awesome, you don't care where you res your teammates. It might be right in the middle of a city. you don't care, even if 10 teams are coming for them, just because you happen to res them in the middle of a city. But you know what? You got them.
The problem is you gotta res them, and then if you know that, you gotta defend. I feel like a couple times we've seen that. I've been dropping and watching you run away into the clear, just bye guys, good luck.
Like I'm gonna defend against the 10 crazy teams coming in to murder the people that are unarmed.
Yeah, you're like, I'll pick you back up. Don't worry.
Yep. I'll get you again. I'll keep resing you as many times as it takes.
Yeah. So there's a lot of interestingness that works in that gameplay. I find that kind of, in my opinion, my favorite part, because it does allow you to actually watch with interest and not just like, oh, I'm going to go leave, because it gives you a reason to be there still. It gives you a reason or a chance to get back up, get back into the game. And we have had games where we had our teammates go down, pick them back up, and went on to win. So it's definitely not a you're out kind of situation, which I enjoy a lot.
Yeah, I mean, people like Dragon who just like charge in there and get wrecked, and then, you can get them,
Yeah.
And people like me that watch them get wrecked instead of helping, we're just saying, it's how it rolls.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's been times like that where I look back and you're like looting some guy's gold crate off his body, and I'm just like,
oh,
save me!
Don't judge me. There's a bigger plan there.
You're like, I had to get geared up, and I'm gonna save you all.
Some things about Apex which I find interesting other than PUBG is, so PUBG, like recently, you can climb walls and climb windows.
Oh,
now.
really?
And well, you can't really climb walls in PUBG, but you can like climb small walls into windows
instead
now.
of just trying to jump. Because
And
that was the original. You had to jump.
Yeah, before you would jump, and it was like the worst thing ever. You would hit a wall and you'd reflect off.
Yeah, if you didn't clear it just enough, you just like bounce off and then land on the other side of the wall, and you're just like, well, crap, I gotta get another rank start.
Yeah, and you just look like a retard in front of anybody that's shooting at your backside.
Yeah, and if you're like really bad at it and you do it like 2 or 3 times, and each time you fail to hit it, so you gotta get another running start again. Just get back over to get another running start. Pretty soon you're like, fuck this, and you just like run around the wall.
We may or may not have been in many of these situations.
Mm-hmm.
But Apex, you can just climb up so much shit. It's almost like, what do they call that? Urban Ninja.
Yeah, it gives you that, like, and you could climb pretty high. Like in the beginning, I knew you could climb, but I didn't know how high you really could climb. I didn't test it out. I was like, oh, here's a wall. Oh, hey, you can climb. It wasn't for like the first probably, I don't even know, 10, 15 games that we started talking about. We're like, hey, like you can actually climb like a full story plus almost.
Yeah, you can jump. You can jump and get like when you hit the wall,
Yeah, like
start
half,
climbing then, you know?
Yeah. So that's pretty nifty. The another big thing is their slide. I really like the way you can, I mean, that just changes a lot of things. Be able to speed up, you can plan it out, be able to just take a good slide down a hill and just cruise, man. Just
Although
like,
there are
be
some
ripping.
weird things with the slide that I've noticed, like for example, you slide down a hill, you go really fast. But
Mhm.
if you're just running on flat land and you slide, you actually do go faster than when you're running, but only at certain times. I've never really understood that. Like, I don't know if you have to get up to speed and then
It's
you do
probably
it,
something like that,
or
yeah.
if it's like you can do it one time, but then if you do it again, you aren't going to be fast. Like,
Well,
I
here's
don't know.
a way, like another thing though that works with that slide is like when you're in hand-to-hand combat in the game, depending on what you're doing, say if you crouch and then you go to punch, or if you jump and go to punch, or if you just stand and punch, it does different moves. So if you jump, you kind of do like a haymaker, swing down. Um, if you crouch, you kind of do like an uppercut. I'm sorry, if you jump, you do the kick thing. That's right, not the haymaker. If you just stand, you just swing normally. So it gives you these different options. Now, if you can use those with the slide. I don't think it gives it a whole another option, but you can use your momentum coming into a fight instead of just doing the crazy jump punch like you'd see in like PUBG, where it's just the same old, same old. You jump punch, trying to do the most damage. It gives you a little bit of different options to come at somebody, and it almost makes it, I don't know, like a little more random. Like if we play PUBG and you get in a one-on-one, you're trying to land that jump punch to their face because you know if you get one of those in, you really only have like a couple more just regular punches and they're down.
Is there a crouch punch?
There is.
Is it like an uppercut?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like if you crouch and then punch, you do kind of this uppercut thing. If this is wrong, I don't know what I saw because I actually saw this when I was in the training portion of the game.
The only reason why I ask is because I've actually never done that. Like I myself have never done a crouch punch, so I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, that's what I'm saying, like-
dude, I'm so close to saying crotch punch. Like I'm like
Crotch punch,
Like right there.
It's kind of like it. You're crouched and you punch him in the crotch.
like right there on the verge, like crotch punch, crotch punch.
If I'm wrong, feel free to say that. But no, I in the training I was testing all the other things out, and there was a crouch, a punch swing that kind of does uppercut. Now, if you use this in different, like I'm just picturing all these different things you can do. You know what I mean? Like let's say like the chick that took me out, ran out of ammo. Instead of just running up to me and punching, you could change the movement. She ran up and then slid, changing the trajectory of her head where I'm trying to shoot at is now lower all of a sudden, and then freaking back up, jumping and punches me and freaking uppercuts me, takes me down.
What a bitch.
What a bitch, but an impressive bitch. I was impressed.
Well, like here's a good example. So PUBG, the meleeing is awful in PUBG.
It's pretty bad.
Like it's bad. Like you're lucky if you actually hit them. Whereas Apex is about 75%, maybe 80% better. Like you do miss now and then where you think like, oh, I should hit them, but for the most part,
For the most part, yeah.
you could be jump kicking, you could be punching or sprint running and punching at their back. Like it's pretty decent compared to PUBG, where PUBG, man, you might as well just spin a wheel because that's the same thing. It's like 1 in 10 chance of landing a hit.
Well, then sometimes you would land a hit, like you would see the blood splatter, you'd hear the thump, right? And then you're like, okay, I got that big jump punch to the face and they should be almost dead. So you focus on just landing at this point, not the jump punch anymore. You're just trying to get those quick 1-2s back in because they're so close. It's only going to take 1 or 2 hits.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get those 1-2 in, they don't drop, and you're just like fighting, and then they get a big 1 punch in, you drop, go into the replay mode, and see it didn't register a hit.
Well, yeah, if you're chasing somebody and you're like swinging at them, for example, you ain't gonna hit them. You ain't gonna hit them until they stop.
Yeah.
Like it's.
But I mean, in this scenario though, like it's the game would glitch occasionally where it would show blood splattered, like you got a hit. But then when you left the game because you lost or whatever, and go back to that replay death cam, it would not show in their death cam, like in the replay of their screen. There was no hit. So there was times like that got old because the game's graphics would show you one thing that you thought happened, play off of that with your decision, and then end up losing. Come to find out that what you saw it didn't happen.
Well,
that was annoying.
There was also like when you're knocked down, like if someone was knocked down and you tried to punch them while they're down, if they were moving, they were unhittable essentially.
Yeah, you basically have to crouch down to get that little, because like if you just leaned over and started punching, it was hard to hit. You had to crouch down so you were in the same level with them. Which I don't know if that's. I mean, I guess you'd call that realistic, but I just feel like they should have made it to where your character kicked or something. You know what I mean? Like why? Like why are you punching a crouch down guy? Like
I mean, that's why it's impressive to me, Apex Legends, because PUBG had so many problems. Like, and Apex really doesn't have that many problems, especially for being a free game versus a paid for game.
Yeah.
PUBG, like another example, like motorcycles. Flipping a fucking motorcycle is the easiest thing you can do, other than maybe breathing. Other than maybe breathing in real life. Yeah.
It's happened on multiple occasions.
It happens every occasion. You get on a motorcycle, you're gonna flip your motorcycle every occasion.
But you gotta admit, though, there's been some pretty hilarious times at that. It's one of those things that was annoying, but almost in a funny way. There was times where it was like, okay, I'm pissed off now because something happened. But there was plenty of times, too, where I was just cracking up laughing based on how something happened.
Oh, I mean, there were plenty of funny moments, but Lord Almighty, if we ever got on a motorcycle, I'm like, well, I'm ready for the next game. Like,
yeah.
Like, at some point in time, you could be on straight road, you are going to flip your motorcycle.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty
or it's just gonna blow up. Or it's just gonna blow up for no reason.
Well, it did that too. You'd hit like an invisible rock, or a tiny little tree branch bush that was evidently an actual like oak tree that you didn't know, because it stopped you in your tracks and just like blew up your Yep, happens.
What are your thoughts on first person versus third person in PUBG?
Ooh.
They don't have third person in Apex.
They don't have third person. Right now, I'm fine with it because it was just kind of locked in. You jump in, you play. But if you compared our experience with the Battlefield 5 Ring of Fire, then our instant impression with that, at least for me anyway, was the first person sucked. Like, I wanted third person in that game. Now, we only played 7-8 rounds, but within those 7-8 rounds and us just getting wrecked, I was like, yeah, I don't like this. I want third person. And I don't know if it's the style of game that makes me feel that way. It might be just the style. It's a little more closer to like the PUBG feel, and PUBG, we were always third person. We never played first person.
Well, we did, but like when you played first person PUBG, it was so bad. Like,
it was definitely a learning curve.
It was way harder, but that's not really what like I consider bad. Is just everything looked bad. Like the guns in first person looked terrible.
I feel like they
absolutely
updated
terrible,
that, though, didn't they?
Maybe they did.
Did they update that?
Maybe they did, but just your field of vision was garbage.
Yeah.
The weapon models looked like trash. Oh, here's another thing that was complete trash. Iron sights for a fucking AK-47.
Yeah.
For an AK-47, the iron sights are the worst thing I've ever experienced in my life in any game. And there's plenty of AK-47s in other games.
Now that you bring that up, though, that's actually something that Apex has on it as well, is the iron sights in, I think, almost all of the guns in Apex that I've experienced. Some are better than others, but they're all not bad. Like, you can still play decently with some of the iron sights and not feel like you're at a super disadvantage in the closer combat.
Oh, yeah. I've hit plenty of people from, like, far range with just the iron sights in Apex.
Yeah.
PUBG with an AK-47, you aren't going to hit them if they're 2 feet in front of you.
Impossible. Yeah, it was pretty bad. They just took up so much of the screen. It feels like, I don't know. But with that being said, though, Apex Legends, I haven't felt like I missed third person. Now, would I play third person if they came out with it? Probably. I would have to wait and see how they work that out. But and if they even do, who knows? But I would give it a try. But like I said, I haven't had a time yet where I'm like, oh man, like I really wish I could do third person. I haven't even thought about it until you just said that with Apex. But within the first 8 games of the Battlefield Ring of Fire Battle Royale, we talked about it a couple times. I think that we just were like, oh, like this is bad. Like we just want that third person.
Oh, dude,
That's interesting.
Battlefield 5 Battle Royale was just. There's a lot of things to be said about that game. Like, it's actually one of my least favorite shooters, and that's not because of the graphics. The graphics are amazing. The destructible environment's amazing.
Pretty good.
The sound, the music is fantastic. All of it
brings me back. Yeah.
All of it's great. What? Back to Nam?
Oh, back to Nam. Back to what's that freaking like that classic Battlefield, that dun 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 dun. Like,
that's
almost...
Mission Impossible.
Oh, did I do that wrong?
but anyways, like the sound, just in actual like gunfire or tank explosions, or even the music is phenomenal. But I feel like in that game, you just die. Like you just die randomly all the time. Like you could be like, oh, it's because you suck, whatever. I mean, look, I've played games for a long time, and I'm pretty good at games. And I'm going to tell you right now, I die every 2 seconds in that game. If you're not going to die, that's because you're hiding behind a wall, sitting and looking. And I don't think that that's how that game should be played. I think you should be rushing through and going crazy or whatever. And maybe you do expect to die a lot. But in that game, you die insanely. Now, there is one thing that I can follow up with that drives me nuts. For as much as you die in that game, why in the shit does a sniper bullet not kill somebody in one hit?
That's I feel like all first-person shooter games really need to work on the damage kind of like variance when it comes to the higher power like sniper rifles. And maybe at closer quarters, maybe you don't make it like drastically different. But I just feel like, I don't know, man. Like you're right. Like if you have a pistol and it takes the same amount of shots as like your freaking, whatever sniper rifle you're using, I do feel like that it just takes away from the game a little bit. You're like, why does it take 10 shots with this gun? My little 9mm or whatever is doing the same thing. Like, I don't know. It feels a little bit weak.
No, just like. Unless you hit them in the head. If you hit them in the head, they die, great. That's a gimme. But if you hit them straight up in the chest with a sniper rifle, in real life, that dude would be dead.
Yeah. I do feel like, let's not, I guess I shouldn't just totally take away. I feel like Apex has a couple of sniper rifles that do significant amount of damage. If you hit them, full on.
Oh, that legendary one.
Distance or not.
Especially.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess they did kind of do that, I should say.
Shield is kind of weird. Like, I'm not against the shield. I like the shield. But it is kind of weird because when you get, like, legendary shield from the get-go, like, the second you get down to the ground and you're fighting somebody and you see yellow reflect off them, you're like, what the fuck? I've got to kill this guy essentially 3.5 times to actually kill him, and we just started the game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of weird when you can... I feel like everybody gets legendary stuff all the time, and I'll see, like, one every 7 or 8 games. Might even more than that. Might even be more than that. But, I mean, I don't know. Apex is pretty good. Like, for example, so PUBG, you have the drops, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Everybody goes to drops. Everybody dies for those drops.
Them.
I mean, pretty much if you're going to a drop, you're probably going to die.
Yeah, it's like it's a very get wrecked moment.
It's probably not even worth the try.
Even if one of your teammates survive, there's a good chance somebody's gonna die and not be picked back up.
Yeah, it's not even really worth it. But the drops in Apex, I feel like they're just too random to even really want to go for them at all.
You have to
in the
basically
first
be
place.
kind of there. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a lot of people don't go, oh, there's a drop, and then just like haul ass halfway across the map to get that. Versus in PUBG, they do.
Yeah, PUBG they do.
They like follow that plane, across the whole map, trying to wait for that drop to hit.
Yeah, Apex
you'll
are kind of
see-
like, oh, I think I heard a drop, but I don't really care.
Now you might run into somebody that's also at a drop that was just happened to be near you in Apex, but typically we haven't really gone to a drop and there's been like, oh, there's like 3 other teams here all of a sudden. Like, been pretty quiet.
Granted, there are those times though where you do go to a drop and there is a team there and you start fighting them, which is a mistake because when you start fighting them, it always seems to happen that other teams then converge on you and wreck you right as you kill that team.
Yeah. Yep.
And that
True,
seems to be
true.
like huge in Apex. I don't know if people just hide and wait or what, but
There's a lot of strategies.
people will be in your face in seconds in Apex versus PUBG. Like PUBG, when the circle is so small, you can just shoot at everybody. That's just kind of how it is. But in Apex, I feel like it doesn't have to get to the so small where you see everybody. It just gets
Yeah.
kind of small. And the second you shoot, a team is going to be on top of your face. And then another team's going to be on top of your face. And then another team's going to be on top. And I mean on top of your face. I don't mean sniping from afar. I mean on top of your face.
Yeah.
They go in balls deep in Apex.
Apex has been a clear winner. I mean, they've made good money too, because the game is free, but there is other things that and this is another good topic I should point out. Apex is free, and a lot of, I should say, most of the in-game content, I believe you can buy it all. I mean, sorry, you can play for it. You can actually open it through gameplay, all of it, right? Am I correct in saying that?
I believe so. I'm not 100%
I believe
sure.
if not everything, very close to just about everything. Now, there are a handful of things that like the characters. There's 2 characters that are locked in the very beginning that take some serious gameplay of time to open those characters.
Don't pick Caustic.
Yeah,
Pick
They got another
Mirage.
character though. They put another character in that you can also unlock now with more. So you can unlock these through gameplay. But most people want to play those, and it's a popular game. It's a fun game, so they pay for it. They pay the $9 or whatever to get enough of the tokens to go just unlock some things. Plus, they have extra tokens left over. If you do that, they can pick up a gun skin or whatever. Like, you can, again, I should say this, you can unlock all these things through play if you're serious about the game. But a lot of people just want to pay for it, and I'm one of those guys. I was like, hey, I'm just gonna pay for it. I like the game, but I don't have time to just spend hours on end just to unlock some things that I want to play now.
But
I
let's
want
be
them now.
real here, though. PUBG's reward system is trash compared to Apex.
PUBG's reward system was like those frickin'
Points, like the currency that you would get,
Yeah,
like
man.
loot crates, and everything is trash in those loot crates no
They-
matter what you do.
They basically forced you to pay because they started out with, you got these like loot crates through points, but you could also spend locked loot crates that gave you better gear. But people weren't buying those with their points because they didn't want to pay the $1, $1.50, $2, whatever it was for the keys. So then they made it to where you basically, it was a random occurrence. Now not only do you get the ones that are free to unlock without keys, you were spending your points from gameplay to possibly randomly get locked crates that you couldn't open without a key.
Yep.
And I still have, because I never bought a key. I was like, screw you guys. Probably like 30 locked crates sitting in my inventory because I'm like, I'm not going to spend $1.50 per crate to unlock this shit.
Yeah, and maybe you can sell the crates, like the locked crates. I can't remember if you can or can't, but you would only get
I know
a
you
couple
can sell
cents.
the gear, but
Yeah, I don't know.
about
If,
the
yeah, I don't even
crates.
know if you can sell the crates. But
And that's a good point, though. Like, you could literally, if you had an outfit in mind, you could, depending if it was like the really expensive shit. There was some cost or outfits in that game that were like expensive. Like that skirt was like $400 or something like that.
yeah, it was
But
insane.
there was a lot of just like shirts, other things you want to create your character with. You go pick up, like, you just put $10 in, you could create a whole outfit or a couple outfits of different things that you couldn't normally get, rather than waiting on opening crates. So it was like in that sense, if you're gonna spend money on it, don't spend money on a possibility of getting something interesting out of these locked crates. Just get the outfits you want, you know?
Yeah, but like the random gear that you would get out of the crates on PUBG versus the random gear that you would get
garbage.
out of the crates on Apex, PUBG's stuff, its rewards are garbage. It is
They
complete
basically
trash.
made it like a 90% just like the same old. You get the same bullshit over and over. Same white t-shirt,
And
same
they sell
striped
for
t-shirt,
nothing.
same pants.
If you
yeah.
sell them, they sell for nothing. Like it gives you
it
nothing.
felt like the chances of getting anything even not even rare, just different. I got the same beanie like 10,000 times, the same white shirt, same pair of sneakers like over and over again. It's like this stuff, the pile was like every time almost had to have been like a 95% chance of getting it, and then everything else just got spread that 1% out to every other thing or something. I don't even know. It was pretty sad though.
Yeah.
They didn't fix it either. As far as I know.
Yeah, as far as I know, it's still the same. Apex Legends, on the other hand, I mean, you can get uncommon, rare, legendary just from the regular crates. Like I've gotten legendary, you know,
Yep.
like, and there's so many too. Like I feel like they have more skins, more emotes, more badges or icons or whatever you want to say, more like death animations. Like they even have a freaking melee finish them off death animation. You know,
Yeah.
they have like a billion times what these other games have. Like I don't know
They
about
put a lot of
Fortnite.
effort into
I don't know about Fortnite, but it's probably not as good as Apex Legends in reality. It's just Fortnite is big right now. Like I bet if
They're
they went
big.
over to Apex Legends, they would be like, "Wow, the only thing Apex Legends doesn't have is the building factor." Which I mean,
see, I feel like
it's
the building,
kind of interesting,
I don't
but
know.
eh.
If they took it too far, almost like, well, I wouldn't even say they took it too far. They just, the way it's set up allowed them to go crazy. Allow these players that kind of learned the habits of it just go crazy, and they're just building straight up while fighting each other. I don't know, man. I just, in the previews when it was first coming out, I was like, oh, you can like build buildings and like hide in them and create like basically bases and stuff like that. That's what it looked like they were going for. But you don't see people doing that. It's a waste of time.
They build what you call the Death Tower, and then
Yep.
they get inside there on the highest level. This is for like the pros, from what I've seen, is they build this Death Tower. They get into the very top of this tower, and basically anyone that comes in there gets sprung upward. And when they go upward, they hit the ceiling full of spikes, and at the same time, they get shot by you point blank. So
I actually haven't seen that. That's
yeah,
funny,
so
though.
that's what they do with that. And don't get me wrong, it is ingenious to an extent. But when I played that game and I landed on a car and it went squeak, that was it. Like that, I was done. I was like, this
So,
is
like this car just squeaked at me.
I was like, this game is dumb.
I don't know, man. It's very popular. I tried playing it a couple of times. It wasn't my thing. I didn't like it that much. But obviously, a lot of people do. Very popular.
Is it really like the old? Well, actually, you know what? Here's the thing. It's kind of sad because if people want to stay popular, like famous streamers or whatever, if they want to stay popular, they have to go with the trends of society. So right now, Fortnite being so big, I don't know how many of the streamers I see on Twitch saying, I hate this game, but I'm playing it because this is what is popular right now. Like
It wouldn't surprise me.
That's I've literally seen them say it, or it like full on, like full disclosure, just straight up right out in the open, like this game sucks. I'm playing it because this is what my audience wants to see, which is I mean, to me that's kind of dumb, you know. And especially, I think the majority of the people playing that game are more towards like the younger, like they're basically kids, you know, like
Yeah,
more
yeah.
kids play that game than anything else. But we are, I shouldn't say we, I mean, we're not famous or anything, but like these famous streamers are forced into this because they want to stay current. They want to stay, you know,
Well, it's a
popular. They don't
job.
want to lose. Yeah, to them it is a job, which
It's a job.
also in a way
They-
is kind of sad.
They do what's popular, do what their fans want to see, and if that's what their fans want to see, then they do it. So I don't know. There's give and take to it, I guess.
If I ever got into a gaming situation where I was playing a game that I hated just to please other people, That would suck. Like, I mean,
Well, I don't think I would be entertaining. Like-
if you were doing it for fun, like if you were doing it just like, oh, I really hate this game, but they really want to see me play it, so I'll play it for a little bit. Play it for a
Yeah.
little bit, get some footage, say, this is why I hate this, whatever. Like, that would be interesting. But if you play
Yeah.
it, if that became your new game that you play all the time, like, I don't know, man. I would never want to
Plus-
be at that level.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like if you played something that you genuinely, you just didn't like it. You're just like, it's not my thing. You just Then I don't think I'd be entertaining playing it. I feel like your audience would pick up on that.
Oh, you mean in general? Like, you wouldn't enjoy it at all, so you wouldn't be as entertaining while
yeah,
you're
I
playing.
feel like you wouldn't be. I feel like because of that, because you're not actually having fun, you're just doing this. Like you might be able to like make some cracks or whatever in the very when you first started, but I feel like after a while you should be like, I don't know, it would take some effort, and I'm sure they do it, but I feel like I wouldn't be able to keep up with that.
Yeah, that would get old to me. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's not bad to try different games,
Yeah.
especially games that you don't really like or you don't think will be good, just so you can be pleasantly surprised if it turns out to be the opposite of what you thought. But I can't imagine changing my entire, like, shifting my whole game genre to a different game, maybe still within the same genre, but one that I clearly did not like after a while, just because other people wanted me to play that. It's like, I mean, people are supposed to like you because you're interesting or you're entertaining or just whatever. They're not
Yeah.
supposed to like you just because of what you're playing, right?
It helps build a following if that was what you're into, you're trying to like grow or whatnot. But I feel like, yeah, you should play what you want to play because you're going to be most comfortable with that. You're going to like that the most. And the people that like that stuff are going to follow you for those reasons because you're entertaining during the things you're doing, like you want to do.
Yeah, dude, that's another thing I just thought of is we don't, like you said, we don't have a lot of time. Like, we're very busy with work or just our lives in general. Who wants to play a game they hate in that small
Right.
amount of time? In that small amount of time, like every time that you're on, you're playing a game that you don't like.
Doesn't
That'd
make
be
any sense.
that'd be the worst, dude.
Well,
But-
speaking of the games, like, because games we don't like versus how, like, what pulled us away from those things. Player Unknown Battlegrounds that we've talked to about a bunch already. That was our game
We like that
for
game.
probably a year.
For as much as we talk shit about it, we like that game.
It's a very good game. It's a different style. It's more intense. We kind of said that, and it's fun. It's fun because of those things. But we have kind of fallen off the PUBG bandwagon in a sense. We haven't really played that, and we haven't felt our urge to play that, especially now that Apex Legends is around. We would prefer to play Apex Legends over that. And I just wanted to bring up and kind of ask why you think that is, because PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, it got old in the beginning because it was the same old. It was the same map, same everything basically. They came out with a couple extra maps, and we jumped back into it for a little while. And then they came out recently, well, not super recently, but they came out the most recent, the winter map.
And that's a good map. I like that map.
And yeah, it was a good map, but we have not. It hasn't drawn us back in, and I'm just. Why do you think that is? Like, why?
Because
Why
I think
is it
I think
changed? You know.
I think the question can only be answered by stating that PUBG isn't going to be able to change in the way that Apex has
Set things up.
set things up. Yeah, like Apex is a much faster paced game. You can respawn when you die if your teammates, get you. It just is a whole nother aspect to that game.
Yeah.
And as more real life, I guess I want to say, as PUBG is, that's not enough to keep my interest over Apex, which is a faster game, especially for people that don't have a lot of time. Like, you could be like, oh,
They're
well, what if
busier,
you die and then you're stuck there waiting for your teammate to res you, just like you would in PUBG. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure I have never felt like a match in Apex is going longer than a long match in PUBG. Like,
No, yeah.
like when you're
They
dead,
fill you
or
up pretty
even
quick.
when you're dead, or even when you're not dead. I don't think an Apex match ever goes as long as a PUBG match does. Like long versus long. I don't.
Yeah. Well,
I don't think
put
it's
it this way:
the
like
same.
we've played games where we're like still looting, and we look at the how many people are left, and we're like, holy crap, we're literally the last two teams. Like we're down to the last team.
It's
We
quick.
didn't even know it, just because it went that fast. Like we were still like fighting out some other people and looting and whatnot, and all of a sudden you look up and like, holy crap, like there's only 3 teams left.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do move pretty fast.
Yeah, it's quick. So in my personal opinion, that's what has me hooked versus PUBG is just it's faster. You can respawn, so it's not all over if you die. It's not that easy to respawn, especially dangerous once you've respawned. Since you respawn with, since you respawn with nothing, you're like, not the ass, no. But that kind of stuff is what has my attention. And then you can look at shield versus armor too. Like in PUBG you have armor, in Apex you have shield. Well, it's interesting to me that you even have a helmet because your gear doesn't take durability damage. So what's the point of a fucking helmet in Apex? Well, I guess it saves you from sniper shots.
Yeah.
I guess, but there's no durability loss. And when your shield goes down in Apex, you can just recharge it. Whereas if your armor gets all effed up because you just happened to throw a grenade at your grenade at a wall and it came back and it hit you, and you effed up your armor. Well, now your armor's effed up until you find other armor, and you're not typically going to find good armor on someone that you shoot to death. So So like in that aspect, again, Apex kind of wins in my opinion because you can recharge your shield, with what you've picked up, but your armor can't be like you can't hold on to 2 additional vests in your backpack just in case one gets effed up.
Yeah.
And again, it's like 2 different aspects. One is more real life, whereas the other one's not. But
what is fun to play?
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to.
Exactly. Like what's fun to play? What is another interesting aspect? I mean, is it more interesting to get your armor effed up and then maybe you don't get armor for the rest of the game?
Yeah.
Or is it more interesting to be able to get something that can recharge your armor pretty much throughout the entire map?
Yeah, and readily available too. It's everywhere.
Yeah, except only you're giving up time to use it, which is also scary because you can't use your weapon during that time. So it's interesting to me in that way. Very strategic.
Yeah, the whole game is
just
very
clench your beehole and just
hide behind a rock.
Like please charge.
But that's a good segue for this because the fun to play, like what's fun to play, is the main reason we are playing Apex right now because it is genuinely fun to play. The only thing that I could complain about is the 3-man squad. I wish they allowed 4-man squads, duos, whatever the case may be, so you don't have to have a pickup guy. I think it would generally be fun to have more than the 4 people you see in typical games. They want to be different, they want to be unique, which is what they did to 3. Let's do 5.
You know what's funny about that, though?
Make it interesting.
I feel like 3 people is a really good number for like you'll always have 3 people.
Yeah.
I do feel like it's a good number. I wish it was more, but I do feel like it's a good number. If we're going to talk about liking games in general, to just be a very broad...
Well, that's what I was going to go towards, like reasons why other games have gotten just the same old, and it's not just this style of game. A lot of the games, a lot of the MMOs and RPGs that we have gone over throughout the last 10, 15 years, it's just gotten monotonous, man. It's the same shit over and over again. We're waiting for that new game to come out that changes that, and we just haven't really seen it.
Well, there's also something like that I think is a gigantic factor in whatever I decide to play. There's some things that I can play by myself, but I would say 90 to 95% of games, there's really no point in playing by yourself. It's only fun to play with friends. Like if I was playing Apex by myself, I would not play that game as much as I play that game.
Yeah.
Like in my spare time, we play it pretty decently, but by myself, I wouldn't play it by myself that much. It's just not.
There's a few games that I bought specifically for the basically the campaign. A few would be Red Dead Redemption, and Destiny 2 they're fun games to play with other people, and if other people want to play those games, I would play with them. But another one of the monotonous, the same old that I kind of pointed out was the online gameplay for a lot of these games, like Fallout 76, Red Dead Redemption. Man, it just feels like they're lacking things, man. Even like GTA 5 and all that kind of stuff. It's like when they very first get released, there's just not that much to do, and they try to like make up for that, but I just haven't had like long-term joy in playing those. Short-term, new, interesting, sure, but after a little while, it just seems like it gets old. But the campaign modes for those is why I basically buy them. Is because
GTA 5 was a very good single player, in my personal opinion.
They're beautiful graphics, good stories. Even Red Dead Redemption, I've really enjoyed its storyline, progressively like going through it. But yeah, as far as their online modes, man, it's just like it seems like the same shit. Everybody wants to just kill each other and waste their ammo.
You're totally right that like the online mode of GTA 5 is very just blah. Like it just comes to a dead end.
It sounds like a great idea.
At least that's what it feels like.
Yeah, it sounds like a great idea, but what happens? Like every time you get on and start playing, you run into some, guy that just wants to just wreck everybody. It's cheating or whatever else. It's like flying around, just like killing you over and over again. You can't catch a break. You can't just go out and do things with your buddies because you just keep getting wrecked. And then eventually you just that switch gets flipped. You're like, fine, I'm just gonna fucking kill you too, man. Like you just start going after them, and then you waste like 2 hours before you finally realize, like, oh man, like that was a lot of time I just spent killing each other,
But you can change servers in that.
You can, but
to where like you look for one with basically nobody in it. But I honestly think though that game dead ends. Like when you build a crew, for example, like there's the crew aspect in there, and you're doing missions or whatever. You're doing missions that don't. I mean, it's kind of the same thing every time. Like you're getting 3 packages, you turn in the 3 packages.
Well, that's the key. Yeah, is the same monotonous. Like I'm saying, go back to the same thing. The same monotonous, same old man. It's the same boring shit. There's nothing changed. Same with the MMOs and RPG styles of like, Guild Wars and WoW and Archage, Warhammer, all those games is the same grind.
And that's why we're excited for AOC.
That's kind of the segue I was leading towards. Yeah, it's, and this could be the same flop. This game could come out. You spent all that money. I spent all this money. Like, could come out and just be like, oh, it's the same shit.
Don't we sound like total optimists this video?
Yeah, but you gotta look at it in the sense of like this has been a thing for years. Games have come and gone, and there's been slight differences. Guild Wars 2 tried to do some different things with kind of, I wouldn't call them nodes, but the way it kind of progressed, there was like kind of a more almost sandboxy sway where it changed based on what was going around, what people did with the quest line. AOC has taken that basically to a whole nother level, man. I mean, we haven't done a whole lot more research into it since a lot of the Twitch streams they've done with the guys that have invested into the company and that kind of thing. But you and me have invested into it with a lot of the back Kickstarter groups. And so we've got a lot of kind of headway into it with them explaining a lot of this shit. And the way that they've explained it sounds very enticing. The way things are going to grow and stuff. I don't know. I'm super excited about it. I feel like you've kind of sat in a couple more of those meetings than I have, but they've got how many different classes and like variances that you can have in this game? Like it just sounds crazy.
It's like 60 different classes or something. It might even be more now. But I'm just kind of like, you got to kind of dive into the deeper theory behind why we are thinking that these games aren't good anymore. Is it because we are all gamed out? Like we've actually lived long enough on the planet, playing games long enough that where we're just not really excited. Yeah, you feel like you've seen it all. Like, is that the reason why? Like if we were 15 years old never played a game before, and we jumped into Apex Legends, would that become our life for the next 10 years? You know, or if we jumped into an MMORPG like Guild Wars 2 or, you know, whatever else, like, would we just be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, this is phenomenal, and just stay with that? Like, the question that I'm kind of wondering is, and I actually don't know the answer, is it because we've seen it all, we've played it before, so that's why it's like it's the same thing? No matter what game you play, it's like the same thing, just slightly different.
I would say basically yes. Like if you were a new person jumping into this, you have not played you know, tons of MMOs, tons of RPGs, WoW, Guild Wars, all those styles of games are new to you, you would probably completely enjoy it. But when you're talking about some of us old timers into that style of game anyway, they've played those growing up, and you know, you kind of get old in that game, so you try to find another version, you find a different style of the same kind of MMORPG. They repeat themselves a lot. It's a lot of the same grind of levels, so you get to your high enough level to do some of the more important things like dungeons or certain quests or whatever. A lot of the co-op stuff that you can do at a higher level, the same grind to get the, you know, the legendary gear or enough money to do certain things. Like it gets to a certain point where it is the same thing over and over again, and to a new person going into that world won't really see that or feel that probably for a while. You know what I mean? It might take several years before you start going, oh, like every game like this is the same. But for people that have played for a long time now, we need that fresh new thing. And there has been a couple of kind of hinty, cool new games, and sandbox games have been pretty popular lately. There is a space one that I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's been Kickstarter, GoFunded like a couple years ago that they're still working on. It's supposed to be a big space game, like just crazy open sandbox space game with just hundreds and hundreds of planets and endless drifting. That, you know, just crazy open world game.
Which one?
I don't remember the name.
Is it the one that we have?
No,
or like
no.
where we go to planets or whatever and stuff like that. I can't remember what that one's called.
Nope. That one's
No Man's Land. No Man's Sky. No, wait. I can't remember.
That one is.
But that game like had potential. I just don't think it's anywhere near being.
It is No Man's Sky. You're right.
Yeah, I just don't think it's.
No,
really...
it's not that one. But it's similar to that one. Like the concept was similar, but it was gonna be way more in depth. And I'll have to ask. I know somebody that invested in that. They probably would have heard more on it. But it's been several years, and I still haven't heard any kind of release dates or anything like that. So they're still working on it. But that one sounded really interesting. Then we have Ashes of Creation. They're definitely, basically the concept is MMO players that like they feel the same pain we do. They've been playing these style of games for years, want something fresh and different. They're the ones that kind of jumped on this and were like, I want to create a game that kind of is fresh, it's new, it changes the MMO worlds, and that's what they're working on. From what I've heard so far, pretty excited about. We're getting pretty close to the alpha one, the true alpha one of gameplay. So maybe we'll jump back into those topics if they finally release that. But they're supposed to do that in the second quarter of this year, so might be hearing more about that soon.
Yeah, like it'll be very interesting to be able to get into a new game that's supposed to be very different than all the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's going to be hard to I want to say follow through with that promise, but we'll see.
Well, that's what it comes down to. Is if I don't like it, I'm not going to hide that, man. I'll be like, this was a waste of the freaking money we backed it with. So,
dude, I put so much money. I have by the way, guys, I have $2,500 into this game.
You put so much.
I have a lot of money into this game. I really wanted it to be good, and I got keys for all of my friends. So that was like the
what else
point
though?
behind it.
I mean, you got a lot. You got quite a bit of stuff with that.
You
got inside access to all their Twitch information and like actual group. Like company information put out.
Yeah, I get
very specific.
I get to be a part of meetings they call the Phoenix Initiative.
Yep. You're
And
basically a pretty big backer, man.
yeah, and they tell us
sense, like-
all this stuff that really no one else gets to hear, but you're under a non-disclosure. So like I can't say
Yeah.
anything anyway. So it's kind of made me like I haven't really been a part of it because I always miss the meetings because I'm always working, and it's like
Yeah.
And then the first time that they actually like did an alpha test run, like my wife got to play it because I was at work, and then I get home. And she's like, "Oh, it sucked." And I'm like, "Man, I didn't even get to do anything, you know?" And
yeah. I want to say you can look at the same concept of what was popular right now. Ash of Creation, for their test runs, has basically built a battle royale style game temporarily just to test their servers. And that really, I know it's not their alpha, it's not the actual like launch of anything like that, but the fact that you can get in and play a little bit got me excited. And then when you jumped in and found out it was just basically just jumping off a Phoenix, landing, trying to find gear and attacking each other, it was like, this sucks. Like like I wanted some stories, some mission, something, you know, crafting, like something to kind of show some of the game, but they're like, nope, that's not for a little while now, so that's supposed to be this next quarter.
yeah, there's very, very, very high expectations for this from a lot of people, not just us. I mean, a lot of different people have very high expectations for the game. I hope it doesn't fall flat. I mean,
the next big issue I'm gonna have though is time, because if you're a true MMO RPG style of player that likes this kind of game, to be serious about it, you do have to put time in. It's not something you can just do occasionally whenever you feel like it, you know, once a weekend or something like that. Like to keep up and actually grow with whatever your plan is, your clan, your guild, whatever, and not fall behind to where you can actually participate in a lot of it, you got to put time in. And that's one thing we're probably going to struggle with. We're probably going to have to make our own setup, our own clan or whatever, to where we don't have to really worry about that and we can progress together. Otherwise, it's going to be interesting. I'm not sure.
well, I think if you're going on that note, how are they going to do? Because here's the thing. People that play this game, or I'm sorry, MMORPGs for a long period of time, they're familiar with the terms casual gamer and serious gamer.
Yeah.
Serious gamer puts in the time, plays all the time. Casual gamer, I mean, they're not serious and they might not even have the time to put in lots of amounts of time. So how do they make it appeal to both sides, like both people? So when you're saying they're going to put in, like you're going to have to put a lot of time in, I'm curious to know how they are going to do it to where it appeals to both sides. Because if they only orientate the game towards serious gamers, well, then we're both going to get effed.
Well, I was gonna say that I think a lot of that kind of stuff comes down to, like, say, battle style settings where you go into the arena or something like that. They do like preset leveling, so where if you're not level 20, you're not level 50, you're not level 100, whatever the level is for that arena, you're auto jump to those levels, and then a lot of that kind of stuff is more stationary. Some games do it that way. Some games, this is the level you have to get to do that. I'm not a big arena guy, so that's not going to be a problem for me. But for the actual gameplay, like say like the node growth or the way the cities progress and stuff like that, a serious gamer, which I've already kind of contemplated and thought this out, that we, before this game actually gets launched, we should all talk about, is the way the progression is going to be laid out is basically like not a whole lot on the map on your server, and then as it grows, as you help a farmer, you know, get through his field without getting attacked, or help a guy that's a merchant, you know, carrying a, you know, his pack in a wagon, you know, he's taken to some distant land or whatever. Like, I'm not sure how they're going to set it up, but supposedly when you set this stuff up, you help these people out, it sets up nodes and other things around. They start these little towns, turn into cities, turns to, you know, basically like big, you know, just massive cities. And you can buy land and this kind of stuff. There's a lot of, like, if you buy land in the beginning of, like, say, the first part of the node, and that turns into a massive town, supposedly you're going to be like rent your land out to people. Rent, like if you built a house or whatever on it, you can rent out that house to, you know, a guild or something like that, or you can make it a guild. Like there's a lot of, again, it's just a lot of speculation right now, but it's that kind of stuff that the more serious gamers are going to be able to jump into, and the more casual gamers aren't really going to be able to do that because it's going to take more time, more effort, more just grinding and money, like to kind of get your goal. But to be honest, like I'm tired of the grind anyway, so I'm kind of looking for some more laid back, and I'm sure they'll have. There's going to be stuff that we're not going to be able to do just because we're not going to be able to put the time in. And if we do get it, it's going to take a lot longer for us to accomplish the goals that we have in mind. But I feel like there's going to be plenty of just the storyline, the gameplay. That's really casual gamers. That's basically their bread and butter, man. It is the storyline, is the progression through the game with your friends, having a good time.
I'm
as
interested.
long as their storyline is good, there should be plenty, you know.
What I'm interested in is the crafting. Like I'm really, you know, I've always gone the hack and slash warrior of whatever game, but I'm really curious in like the crafting. What if, you know, I get to get this piece of land and you know, it's going to be in the middle of the town or whatever, farming
place. Yeah, like
what if I was doing farming? What if I was the #1 and all the guilds came to me and they were like, yeah, man, hook me up with your badass blacksmithing skills or your badass milk from your cows. I don't know. I'm just saying that would interest me. I wonder how in depth that part of the system is going to be. And these are a lot of questions that I probably would know if I had been following, you know, but I kind of fallen out of date with them just because of life, just because of work. So I'm very interested. But do we know a release date for Ashes of Creation?
I don't know about a release date, but I did check their kind of progression, and I believe this next quarter they were talking about possible Alpha 1 launches. Basically, it would go for a couple months, and then you'd have like an Alpha 2 launch, like another couple months, and then you'd get the Beta 1s, Beta 2s going, and then sometime after that is when they get the actual launch. I believe, if I remember correctly, reading somewhere, their actual game launch won't be till, I want to say, the beginning-ish area of 2020, possibly more middle towards like August, you know, September. But I would assume 2020 sometime for the actual game launches.
Well, I definitely look forward to that. I think we're at about an hour and 20 minutes. It's probably time to wrap this up. But this was the first time that we actually talked about games, which I feel like rather than our uplifty, funny kind of deal, I think this is more like pessimistic. Like, I hate these games. because
we haven't talked about them.
But you know, I mean, there are a lot of things in games that frustrate you, and I guess they just kind of come out when you're talking about it. There are a lot of good aspects to those games too.
Well, let's like point out the fact that we, as much as we talk crap about, say, you know, PUBG or even like the Battlefields, these games are well created in the sense of their graphics are amazing. I truly think that Battlefield 5 Ring of Fire would be fun if you had a full group, a full party of 4 of your buddies playing it. We only had the 2 of us.
And that was bad. That was rough.
It wasn't great. We got wrecked every time. It wasn't fun. But there's certain things that you kind of pick up on, and then you learn. You know what would be fun and what wouldn't based on your kind of likes and dislikes. And right now, which some people may completely hate and go like Fortnite better, but Apex Legends is the one that we've really drawn to for the last little while, and probably for a little while after this. So
of shooters, anyway. There's probably other games, but we're, you know, like I'm still into WoW, which I can't get Dan into. Damn it, Dan.
It's just, man, it's how the chips fall. I just can't. I can't. I'm sorry.
One of these days, the chips will line up, and then he'll be like, I don't know what happened, but suddenly here I am playing WoW.
What it comes down to is the new games, man. When we both jump onto a new game together for the first time and set the bond. Yep, it's how it rolls.
It's how it rolls.
We won't go back. There's gonna be more game topics to come, I'm sure, in the future. Probably some actual gameplay here coming up before too long, or maybe long, depending on. There's a lot going on right now. They might actually miss some some podcasts even. So we're gonna try to stay as updated as possible. But there's a lot coming down the pipe right now.
And I'm out.
I'll talk to you later.
Cue your intro. Cue intro. Cue. We gotta record it. Okay, we'll record it. Then cue intro.
Cue intro.
Cue intro.
Bro, we just gotta sing it. Like, gotta like, comment, and subscribe to the Tan&Dan channel. Like and comment and subscribe to the Tan&Dan channel.